Galamera, Galamera, Galamera. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And how are we today? I hope you are feeling good. As you can see, the weather today is absolutely glorious. So I'm just taking a little walk, a little bit closer up to the road, just to see how my signal is and see if I'm still broadcasting when I get to this extreme from the house. But anyway, as you can see, it's absolutely fantastic this morning. A tune jumped into my head. Can I thank Mr. Steve Hinkling in Stoke-on-Trent for this tune, which was Mr. Blue Sky by ELO. It just jumped into my head this morning and I'm having difficulty trying to get rid of it. So I've got a feeling for this afternoon's broadcast, I think my first record is definitely going to be Mr. Blue Sky. At the moment, I've just noticed Danielle Rogers is tuning in as well. I know you've written a comment, but I can't read it at the moment. Happy birthday, my darling. I hope you have many happy returns today, and have a good day. All right. So nice to see you there tuning in, my lovely. We'll see what the summer brings. Anyway, just looking down the back of the house, then obviously towards Laguna and Kalamaki. Again, lovely sky, lovely weather. Here comes little Domino, just having a little patrol, walking up, and then looking across to the other direction, looking over the top of the hill up to Sillavi. Again, lovely clear weather, absolutely beautiful. And little Domino is just saying hello at the moment. Domino, are you saying hello? Are you saying hello? Are you? Oh, bless you, darling. Anyway, let's have a look at the news. Let's crack on, because we're getting ready for the weekend, aren't we? Believe it or not, if you're able to do anything for the weekend. We certainly can't at the moment. Big shout out to Chris Baxter there in Sutton, in Ashfield. Nice to see you there, big fella. Shane Bowen is also tuning in as well. Nice to have you there as well. Right, let's have a look. What day is it now? Yeah, 26th of February, almost the end of the month. All right, let me quickly just turn myself around. Almost the end of the month, and March is upon us by Monday. Okay, it is now day 112 of the lockdown. Oh, God. And just a quick one for you. I was speaking to Dennis yesterday, and Dennis's special offer for 10% discount on Magdalena's apartments. If you want to book those for the summer, he's running the discount scheme until the end of March now. And this will be made very clear in the reason for this in the news, all right? But if you want to get 10% discount to stay at Magdalena's bar, get in touch with Dennis. And it's 10% until the end of March. You can do your booking, and then obviously just speak to Dennis and get yourself booked in. All right. Right then. Also, as well, just on a little bit more of a poignant event. Today marks 1 year since the first day that COVID-19 was reported in Greece. The first patient back then, if you can remember, was a 38-year-old woman from Thessaloniki. She was discharged from hospital with two children 2 weeks later on March the 12th, along with her 12-year-old child who'd also been infected as well. So that is kind of an anniversary today, a year since coronavirus was first actually picked up here in Greece. Now, the next anniversary that we're going to be looking toward is obviously the first fatality here in in Greece, and that was on the 11th of March 2020 last year. I'm just trying to see, did they say who the person was? No, they didn't. But anyway, 11th of March is when the first fatality happened here in Greece. So there you go. All these anniversaries are now starting to come up. Right, let's have a look at the infections in the last 24 hours in Greece then. We've had actually... the infection rate has gone down slightly in the last 24 hours. You might remember that yesterday I'd reported to 1,913, which was a bit of a spike. And the day before that, it had been 800 and something. Well, the latest new infection rate was 1,784 new infections across the country, bringing the grand total of people infected with the virus since the pandemic started last year to 186,469, of which 51% of those are male. There were 10 new cases identified into the country. Now, that's up on the day before where we had 5. And then looking at the national stats for virus new cases across the Ionian Islands, there were 13 new cases on Lefkada, and Lefkada, just to remind you, is in alert state yellow. There were 2 new cases in Kefalonia, they're in alert state red. And there were 7 cases in Corfu. They are in alert state yellow. And Zakynthos here, we're in yellow also. We had 2 new cases, and those were nationally reported. And the good thing is that the figures actually match up at the moment as well with our local reports as well. Yesterday, we had a 25-year-old foreigner, they're describing him, from Enya, who had tested positive. The 25-year-old had mild symptoms and was obviously tested, found that he had the virus, and he was also given 14 days home quarantine. So that is technically somebody from outside the island who was here. What he was here for, I don't know. But anyway, they're tracking his contacts at the moment to see if he's come into contact with anybody else. Also, later yesterday, a 15-year-old high school student from a village, they describe it, was tested positive for the virus. The young man had a fever. He visited the general hospital where he was diagnosed as having the virus, was tested positive. He was also placed under house quarantine as well for 14 days. Now, the young man goes to the C2 high school in Latakia, and they've ordered his department, i.e. where his class is, to be closed at the moment. So there you go. That's our 2 cases we had yesterday. Also, since the pandemic started, well, not since the pandemic started, but this year, Zakynthos has seen 97 positive cases since the beginning of the year, and we've had 62 cases this month of February for infection. All right, so again, we'll be getting ready to start a March one soon, so we'll see how March bears out. Anyway, as when it comes to deaths, I'm afraid deaths are up across Greece at the moment. Yesterday I reported we had 28. We are now 39 new deaths. The average age of those people passing away is 79 years of age. There's been a total of 6,410 deaths since the pandemic started here in Greece, and 96% of those people that passed away were over the age of 70 or had underlying health conditions. And just to put that in context, the average death rate in Greece before COVID in 2019 was approximately 329 deaths a day. So you get a slight idea of the figures there. And as for Zakynthos, this year, since the beginning of the year, we've only had 1 death from COVID, and that was in February this month. So once again, our condolences to those families that are affected. Now, when it comes to critical cases, we'd had a couple of days where critical cases are kind of stabilised, but unfortunately critical cases have now gone up. Yesterday there were 357 critical cases across Greece, and at the moment there is now 367 critical cases now. 257 of those are male, and 110 of those are actually female. And the average age of people in critical states in ICUs across Greece is around about 68 years. They're around about 68 years of age, of which 86% actually have some form of underlying health issue or are over the age of 70. Right now, I've got to be honest, today's news seems to centre greatly around the Greek Prime Minister, so please forgive me on that. It's just the way it is. The Greek Prime Minister, Kyriakos Mitsotakis, yesterday stated that the national lockdown for us here in Greece is going to be extended due to the sharp increases across the country, especially in Attica. And the lockdown was originally planned to be lifted at the beginning of March, if you remember. I did say that to you. But now health experts are urging for an additional 2 weeks until the 15th of March. And I did say to you, we had Carnival coming up, and Carnival would have finished on the 14th of March. And the 1st of March is what's called Clean Monday. And that is like the beginning of Lent. And so now I was saying this all along. There's no way he was going to let Carnival happen, because not only does it happen here, but it happens in other islands, and especially in Patra, where they have a huge carnival in Patra. It wasn't going to happen. So again, the 15th of March now, it looks like we've been extended to. Again, we'll wait and see. This is not the first time they've managed to move the goalposts all the time, and we shall wait and see what happens then. Now, Mitsotakis has also been back on about his certificate, his vaccination certificate with the EU yesterday. Mitsotakis said at the summit yesterday, which was done online, believe it or not, the earlier decision on the vaccination certificate is made, the better it is for the EU. The Greek Prime Minister, according to government sources, noted that the earlier the decisions are made, the better for the EU. Otherwise, he says, the private sector will inevitably move in that direction. So he's saying that private enterprise, the corporations, will probably be the ones that's going to start to enforce it. Anyway, Mitsotakis warned that if we do not do it as the EU, someone else will do it instead of us. He said probably the big technology companies, while he clarified that he is in favour of registering as little personal data as possible for citizens. You don't know how the big corporations are going to act on that, do you? Now, also referring to his proposal, he reiterated with emphasis that the certificate will not be the equivalent to a health passport, but instead will open a fast lane for travel without restrictions caused by diagnostic tests and mandatory quarantine. Now, it's interesting that the World Health Organization are actually saying at the moment that a vaccine certificate should not be enforced, because basically it's all a big experiment at the moment, with people being basically injected with the vaccine, and the World Health Organization is saying you can't really force people to have this, and to try and create a certificate or some form of travel passport is not the way to go. And that's what the World Health Organization is saying about that. Anyway, the Prime Minister also stressed that the facilitation of travel does not only concern the countries that receive very large number of tourists, but also the aviation and hospitality sectors as well. Also, during his intervention, Mr. Mitsotakis referred to vaccines and pointed out the latest scientific data to certify the high effectiveness of the vaccines as well. Finally, the Prime Minister reiterated his support for unity in the unions. This is the unions, the Greek unions as well, vaccination strategy, and the strict message that must be sent to pharmaceutical companies to honour their commitments to the production and delivery of vaccines. In fact, it's to do with the European Union, not the unions. I'm surprised. We have a lot of thing with the unions here, that he basically wants the European Union basically to get a grip when dealing with the pharmaceutical companies. Well, more like, yeah, get a grip, Mrs. van der Leyen. Anyway, interestingly, at the same time, while the Greek Prime Minister was discussing what was going on, here in Zakynthos, a story was running that the Deputy Regional Governor for Zakynthos, Konstantinos Zorbas, noticed while speaking to Hermes News, and asked about when would vaccinations for the over 60s of age, when would that begin here in Zakynthos? Mr. Zorbas said that this has not yet been determined when the vaccinations would start, but if it did start, it would probably be with the Pfizer vaccine. Now, saying this was saying that he then said that this was the information that was being given to him by the commander of the 6th Regional Health. Now, 6th Regional Health is the authority that controls the hospital here in Zakynthos. Anyway, the commander of the 6th Regional Health, he was in Corfu yesterday on the Diplana Islands for a visit by the Greek president. She came over for the occasion for the start of the vaccination program that is going on there in Othios and Erycina. And during the meeting with the islands executives from other islands as well, the issue of vaccinations was also, and vaccination centres, that was also raised as well. Now, Mr. Ganos said, we have been in contact with the Ministry of Health from the first moment, and before the vaccination programme started, we'd asked how we may be useful. Anyway, they made it clear to us that the Ministry will have full control over the process. He also noted that the AstraZeneca vaccine may concern the group age over 60, but this does not mean that it is the only one that can be given to this group of the population. So what they're saying is you may get what you're given and you may not be able to choose what you're given, as has happened in certain other countries. In fact, the vaccinations with this vaccine were completed in the islands, he says. Anyway, characteristically, he stated that from Friday, the vaccination centre in Paxos will operate to cover the over 60s using the Pfizer vaccine, while he estimated that in all the islands, the problems that have arisen both with the vaccination centres and the home vaccination, which is being used for citizens, especially the elderly, who can't get to a vaccination centre or go to a hospital to be vaccinated, that is supposedly going to be solved. Anyway, Mr. Zorbas noted that we should not forget that the supply of vaccines was based on the European design, obviously saying that we'd obviously done our pre-orders and pre-bookings. We'd actually put in our order with the companies only to have it usurped by the EU, who then wanted to take control, and they obviously made a pig's ear of it. Anyway, he said that the European design, with the known problems regarding the agreements with the pharmaceutical companies, emphasising that our country is at a very good level in proportion. So in other words, there's enough vaccine going to get here at some point. Anyway, interestingly, again, the Greek Prime Minister was speaking to the German press yesterday, and this was just before he had the meeting with the EU leaders, reference COVID and the way ahead. And speaking to the Süddeutsche Zeitung newspaper, the Greek Prime Minister said that he expressed hope that the season for 2021 will be much better than last year. He said, our goal is to reach at least 50% of 2019 levels, expressing the belief that the vaccination campaign in Greece, dubbed Operation Elfrathia, will ensure that by May, all citizens over the age of 60 will be vaccinated, but also those with underlying diseases will also have been vaccinated as well. Shortly before the teleconference of the leaders of the European Union, the German newspaper said Mitsotakis seeks to facilitate travel to the EU and to introduce a standard EU-wide vaccination certificate for travel within the EU. Asked how Greece would use the money from the EU recovery fund, the Prime Minister said it would help transform the Greek economy with an emphasis on digitalisation, increased investment and a shift to green energy, including phasing out of lignite, that's coal, for power stations here by 2028. No mention about propping up businesses, getting people some form of bailout so they can keep their business. So at least when the tourists turn up, they can still open their doors for business. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on that. Right. Now, another story from the Prime Minister. And again, I do apologise. The problem is they politicise everything, and you'll understand this as we go through. But anyway, Mitsotakis again announced stricter penalties for sex offenders as part of a government response to a slew of allegations of sexual abuse in the Greek theatre and also in sports, while accusing the main opposition party of being behind mudslinging campaign on social media. The Me Too is at the core, a healthy movement, the Prime Minister said. He told lawmakers on Thursday during a debate in the government of the handling of the ongoing inquiry into possible child abuse involving the former head of the National Theatre of Greece, Dimitris Lignas, but also the moment should not become a victim of vulgar political exploitation. This is his words. He said and accused the main opposition party, Syriza, whose leader is Alex Tsipras, of left-wing Trumpism and being behind social media campaign to link conservatives with alleged paedophilia scandal. Anyway, the liberating movement is becoming a field of vulgar populism and vague accusations aiming to harm political opponents, as if rapists are divided into right-wing and left-wing, he said. Anyway, presenting some of the proposed changes to the penal code, Mitsotakis said that the statute of limitations in sexual abuse cases involving minors is suspended until the victim reaches adulthood, which is interesting, while sexual abuse cases will be heard in the court as a matter of priority. The new portal, which they've launched, the metoo.gov.gr, where victims will be able to submit complaints via live chat and access information on sexual abuse. The government will also establish a registry for any professional who comes into contact with children and adolescents, such as coaches or people employed in summer camps and refugee structures. Basically what they're saying is they're going to have to do some form of check on them and make sure that the people are clean. I don't think he's talking about a sex offenders register at the moment of people who are convicted of sex crimes or sex crimes in general and going on there. That's not what I'm understanding from what he's saying. Anyway, Mitsotakis also fully backed the handling of the Legadis case by the cultural minister, Lina Mayondi, describing her as a very effective minister, but admitted that she made a big mistake calling Lignas a dangerous man in a press conference to address the sexual abuse allegations. Anyway, taking the floor, Tsipras hit back. He's the opposition man, at the accusations of populism, saying the responsibility for the scandal belongs to the Prime Minister. We are not going to judge or much less condemn anyone, but let us all ask ourselves, are there no political responsibilities that are tantamount to a political scandal? He asked and distanced himself from the conspiracy spread in social media with the hashtag New Democracy Pastorates. That means paedophiles in English. Anyway, you insist on supporting and protecting Mendoni despite the outcry from the art world. He told Mitsotakis, noting that the cultural minister did not seek a judicial probe when the first lawsuit was filed on February the 6th. And if you may remember, the cultural minister came under fire because she basically gave him the job because they were friends. And the normal procedure to tender for the job was not followed as well. And so this is the reason why there's been such an outcry on this here. Anyway, just a quick reminder, if anybody is tuning in, living here in Greece, if you experience any domestic or sexual violence, you can get help here. Once again, you can call the police on 100. They do have trained officers now in the police stations who can deal with that. Also, as well, there is the dedicated helpline here, which is manned 24 hours a day. And the great thing about the helpline is not only do they speak Greek on there, but they also speak English as well. So at least you can get help on that. And that dedicated helpline is 1440, 1440. Call it any time, even if you just want a shoulder to talk to or somebody to talk to, explain what's happening in your life. So once again, it does happen here in Greece, as it happens everywhere else across the world. There are those people out there preying on the vulnerable. Right, and finally, a little bit of good news. All right, hey, I can hear a cheer go. In a piece of welcome news for the non-smokers like myself, all right, it was announced on Wednesday that Greeks cut their smoking more than half over the last decade. Yeah, Greece used to be one of the biggest smokers in the world. I think they were only surpassed by Cyprus, who smoked even more. Anyway, smoking, believe it or not, was reduced by a full 52.4% over the last 10 years, according to new data from Elstat. That's the Hellenic statistical people. And crucial gains were actually made in the 14 to 16 demographic. Yeah, young kids, they're not taking up smoking. One, it's not expensive here, but basically I'm pleased to hear that. As of September 2019, 24.9% of adults in Greece reported they smoked more than one cigarette per day. Almost 4%, or 3.7, reported they were occasional smokers who smoked less than 7 cigarettes per week. Anyway, smoking by youngsters decreased by more than half. Those under the age of 24 are increasingly less likely to smoke, with reductions amounting to a whopping 52.4% over years. And I've got to be honest, I don't see many young people here in Greece smoke, to be honest, and I'm pleased that seems to be a trend, and let's see if that trend actually lasts. Right, okay, let's have a quick look. I just saw a nice little reply there. Some Chris Baxter said, that's probably because they're vaping, mate, and they're not smoking cigarettes. Good point, I like that. Rachel Hanson says, good morning, lovely to see you here, Rachel. Amanda Gregory gives me a big wave and a big good morning, and she says, just watch the sunrise over Laguna at 6:30 this morning. Beautifully sunny, cloud-free day today with a gentle breeze, high temperatures of 19 degrees, which will feel like 22. Enjoy, have a great day, and the pups are doing well, and the pups are doing great. I'm so pleased about that. I know there's issues at the moment regards transportation of strays now back to the UK. I'm not going to go into that at the moment because I think that needs a proper look at from me before saying anything on the subject. But I do know it's going to get difficult now for strays, and I do know now that a lot of the people who are doing volunteer work now can't get certain supplies that they used to get at cheaper prices because they would bring them in on runs to the UK, and they're now having to pay full price for them here in Greece, and it's making it more difficult for them at the moment, with operating costs being increased effectively because of the ramifications of Brexit and being able to import stuff, because everything now has got to be taxed. But anyway, thanks for that, Amanda, and I just thought I'd just quickly say that as well. Anyway, Julie Hannahan is looking in. She says, morning. Patrick Curtin over there in Cyprus is tuning in as well. He says, morning, Ginge, how are you? I'm absolutely grand, sir. And Tim Crystal says, good morning. Love the yellow blue sky. So great. Yeah, it's just a tune just jumped in my head this morning. I'm definitely playing that this afternoon on my show. That is for sure. Chris Baxter says, morning, frosty here in Sunton in Ashfield. Bless you. I'm hoping you're... Oh, that's a point. I've got to bring this up. I was speaking with Chris Baxter. Chris, if you remember, went back to the UK and is now trying to get back here. He was quoting prices of €112 for COVID tests to be able to return here. Just bear this in mind. What's happened in his area is this. If you book a test, you're going to get it cheaper than turning up. By booking a test, he gets it for €98. By turning up, just off the cuff and doing it, they're charging €112. Again, people making money out of this. And also, this is the area where he lives. That is the sort of like the going rate. However, maybe in other areas, you're going to be paying a lot more. I've heard reports of £220, £250 for COVID tests. And again, if we get these kind of inflated test costs, it could seriously impinge people coming on holiday, because I know most people would rather spend $250 on the local economy, having a few drinks, a few beers, a few more meals out, than having to have a COVID test. And you could probably have a nice little weekend away in England for £250 for a weekend if you're allowed to move. So I'm hoping that some common sense is going to come into play here over testing at the moment. I think testing should be free, full stop. And if they test at the airport when you arrive in and you happen to test positive, then obviously like last year, down into the Kerry Plague Hotel, as we were nicknaming it last year. In fact, he did actually all right because all his costs were covered by the government last year. And that might be the way ahead. Or either that, if you go and get a test, once again, a little tip, all right, which I've been told, if you go to the doctor and say, I think I may have been exposed, they're obliged to test you. All right, just say you heard somebody in the pub saying so-and-so got it, or I think I better go get checked, all right, and see what's been done, all right. Anyway, Julie Meldrum, Wiggy Winstanley, the ambassador for Wigan over there in Cyprus, is tuning in as well. Lovely to see you, big buddy. Mr. Blue Sky in Essex also, says Patrick Curtin. Julia Halloran says, hello, Domino. Oh, that's the cat, bless. Wiggy Wayne Stanley, morning, mate. And Julie says, good morning, everybody. Have a pleasant day. Christine Brown is watching. David Lowry, Gary Horsfield. Greeting, Ginge. Good morning to you, brother. Thank you, Gary. I hope you have it. I know you're getting close to your birthday soon, big buddy. And I'm not sure if you're doing any more movies or stage productions at the moment with lockdown. I know you've been quite busy. You were in, was it The Queen you were in? And also Victoria as well, but nice to have you tuning in. Julie Harris says, woohoo, we got a bit of blue sky, Ginge. I think I've started a craze here at the moment. Thank you for that. Also, Christine Coldwell is tuning in. Lovely to have you looking in as well. And I spoke with Michael the other day. We had a fantastic chat and everything is looking great there, my lovely, as well. You'll know what we're talking about. Anyway, Julie Harron is looking in as well. Linda Gary is looking in as well. Gary Horsfield said he's a great DJ and broadcaster, airborne as well. Oh, bless you. I'm not exactly airborne, but I was on 2 for a while. All right, there you go. Gary Horsfield, I will be asleep soon. Just finished work. Tim Crystal says, morning, Lyndon. I managed to get 90 sweet corn seeds, 10 tomatoes and 10 cucumber seeds in yesterday. How's your allotment going? I love it. They're talking gardening. That's made my day, that has. Anyway, great. Gary says, well done, Ginge. It's great to hear you. Your stats on the community and surrounding areas better than the news here in the UK most of the time. From what I understand, it's better than news that people are getting in Australia at the moment as well. Anyway, there's still more gardening talk going on here. Tim Crystal, I only do flowers these days, Tim. I'm making a start and turning over some soil today, so stay safe. Anyway, I've got to be honest, I did burning yesterday at the back there. We managed to burn all our rubbish that we've had sitting around because the ground had dried out and we managed to get there. Pat Patel, nice to see you there, buddy, tuning in. Hope you're well, sis, after your COVID scare. Oh my God, here it's all coming out now. Delia Gazzetti's looking in. Gary, I'm gonna have to go, guys. Thank you for all those people who are just continuing to chat. I've seen Chris Baxter's because they're vaping. Once again, can I just say, just to remind you, I've got my show going out this afternoon, 3 o'clock your time in the UK till 5 o'clock. And then don't forget, from 5 o'clock UK time until 7 o'clock, I've got my dance anthem show on beatsradio.co.uk. So that's why I have to do my first show, and it's got to finish more or less on time. And then I'll finish here in Greece, and then it goes straight into Beats Radio. .co.uk, and the Dance Anthem show goes out then. Can I just say thank you to all those people who've been tuning into both the Dance Anthem show and the Northern Soul show. That goes out on Sunday. The shows are doing really, really well. You will notice I put up yesterday last week's Northern Soul show. That is up online, so you can have a little tune into that. And also the show from Wednesday's gone up online as well. That's charted in the reggae chart at the moment, so go and check that one out. That was a lovely show. I really enjoyed that show with some great people coming in for chats and talking and stuff. And yeah, looking forward to the weekend basically, and we'll see what goes on. Anyway, I better go. Lots to do. We're off to the police station today. Yay! Hopefully we will get our residency permit. We're supposedly supposed to go down and pick it up. Although the interesting thing is, when we went down there the other day to pick it up, things were going on and he disappeared away. So hopefully there'll be no more drug busts going on, and we can go and get our residency permit, the biometric one, the one to have, the biometric, and obviously, and then we're further in the system and we're safer here. Anyway, I'll catch you later. You take care. Have a lovely weekend. I will be with you tomorrow morning, and I'll be with you today at 3 o'clock till 5, and then 5 o'clock till 7 UK time for the Dance Anthems show on beatsradio.co.uk. Catch you later. Ta-ra.